What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for your Week 1 NFL review, reaction, recap. And I know you're all looking at my face right now and you're like, yo, what happened to your face, Mitch? So that's why I have a poll up on the channel, on the video right now, asking you to answer the question, the mystery of what happened to my beautiful face. Did I burn my face at the Texas game, watching the game, underestimating the Texas Heat, or did I burn my face voluntarily after watching the Patriots offense and Matt Patricia's play calling? You let me know. You are the world's greatest detective. So let me know in the comments what you guys think and how you think it happened. But we are here live to discuss every game from Week 1 of the 2022 NFL kickoff Week 1 this season. And I'm excited. I've gone through pretty much every game. I think I've missed maybe one, maybe two games that I have yet to go back and watch. But for the most part, I have watched every single game, not only live, not only was I at the Bucs-Cowboys game, not only did I sit down and watch all these games, but I went back and I watched them. So we can go through the overreactions that will take place for Week 1, and I'll let you know what's going to be an overreaction, what's going to be an underreaction, what's actually true, what's actually false, and a lot more. So if you haven't already, make sure that you do. Gronk, spike the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this, guys. Gronk, spike the notification bell to be notified when I go live every single time. We are here. We are ready to go. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this season to be underway. I'm excited for you guys to let me know what you think about Week 1, because I know there's a lot of madness going out there. One person who wanted to let you know what he thought of Week 1 is a little man called Ultra. He posted his Ultra Top 10 on the Instagram earlier today. So if you want to check out the top 10 teams according to Ultra, make sure to head over to Instagram for his top 10 teams. The link is in the description. If you want to follow what's going on with the channel, what's going on with the BLV when I'm not here live or I'm not making a video, make sure that you do follow us on social media, whether it is Twitter, where I'm tweeting all the time, every Sunday, every Thursday night, every Monday night, about my thoughts about the games and what's going on. You could also follow the Instagram, and you could follow TikTok. All of those different platforms are places where you can find BLV content that will not be here on YouTube, okay? Will not be on YouTube. And I'm looking forward to going live on Sundays once again, starting in Week 2. Of course, I missed it. Ultra saying your face. I know, man. I know, man. But you let me know what you think happened. Did I burn my face on purpose after watching Matt Patricia? Or did I do it in Texas watching the Longhorns play? Let me know in the comments. Let's go. All right. So let's just begin with one thing. Okay? We've got to discuss a couple things. First is, if you're new to this show, like, what the F is this show, right? What is the bottom line? Why do I even call it that? What is this thing? If anybody's ever seen this show, they know what it's about. But this show is the weekly review that I do every week after Sunday night, after Monday night, after the action of the past week. But not only is it a review show, it's a rant show. It's a reaction show. It is a truth show. I get injected with truth serum and I just rant at the camera for about 2 hours about what just happened in the past week in the NFL. Many people that have seen this show over the last couple of seasons have said it's their favorite show, and it's because it's the most honest show that you will find about the NFL every week, not only here on the channel, but anywhere else. It is an honest show, and it is definitely a little bit over the top. It definitely can get a little bit, rated R at times. So if you're sensitive to those things, look out. But I'm honest. I'll tell you how it is, okay? Now, the second thing I got to give you is the schedule for the season. So just in case you guys want to know what's going on the channel for the rest of the 2022 NFL season and how the content will break down, just so you guys are aware for certain videos that you want to see every week, because I know not everybody tunes into every video, but here's how it's going to go down. So Mondays from week 2 on, we're going to have NFL power rankings. Okay, I might even do power rankings tomorrow live earlier in the day and then do picks Wednesday night. Because I wasn't able to do it yesterday because I was obviously coming back from Texas, so I wasn't able to do that. But for power rankings will typically be done on Monday, okay? And that will be me ranking not just the top 10 teams, but all 32 teams from the worst to the best. Also on Monday, there will be an early look betting show where I look at the opening lines for every game and I discuss what I like this week, what I don't like this week, really early in the week, so that if you're a bettor out there, you can pounce on the same value that I'm pouncing on. Tuesdays will be this show, NFL Weekly Review Show, along with anything else that happens in breaking news in the NFL. Wednesday will be the best bets and will be the NFL Pick Show. Sometimes best bets will be left till Thursday morning, but most of the time it will be on Wednesdays, okay? And then at night will be the weekly pick show, as always, live here on the channel. Thursdays are going to be, like I said, best bets for spreads if I don't put it out on Wednesday. And then definitely best bets for the totals every week, which we actually did well in week 1. And then Fridays will be the NFL best bet parlays. Sundays will be the game streams. Saturday, I currently have nothing planned, but that could always change. So just so you guys are aware, that's how the schedule is going to break down for the rest of the NFL season so that you know when to tune in, okay? All right. So let's first discuss what matters most from week number 1. What do we actually learn from week 1? Because this is known as the overreaction week. Everybody talks about how everyone's going to overreact and how they shouldn't overreact, and then at the same time, everybody says it, but then just does it. You know, they do it anyways. So how do we learn from week 1? So I will say this one thing. The one thing is that in week number 1, bad teams, less than stellar teams can win in week 1 against good teams. I'll say it again. Bad teams are capable of beating good teams in week 1. And that's for a variety of reasons. 1, they might have a new scheme. They might have a new approach. They might have had a couple plays in the game that were able to shift their way through coaching, through game plan that a team didn't see coming because they've never seen it from them before. They weren't able to study it. As the season wears on, the ability to scheme yourself to victories becomes less and less and less until you really get to the playoffs where talent is very even and then coaching becomes more essential. And then you've got to talk about, well, some teams are rusty. Some teams didn't play starters in the preseason. Some teams aren't ready. Some teams are still a little bit banged up coming out of training camp. Maybe some teams are not in condition. Maybe some teams are out of shape. So teams that are in shape, that are ready for physical football, that come in hard and heavy, will have a better opportunity to win games. And we'll talk about those matchups that happened this week, that I think there's certain teams that really prepare well for the regular season and they hit the ground running in week 1 and they can catch a better, more talented team on the ropes because that team is not ready. Okay, so bad teams can win in week 1. Don't put too much stock in one single week, which is the first week of the season, because we don't really know. Some teams are still getting used to a new quarterback or a new coach or a new system or whatever, right? So just so you guys know, that is the deal there for week number 1. All right, just quick on Texas. So if you guys haven't guessed by now, I did burn my face in Texas at the Longhorns game, which was a lot of fun. I do want to say this. The Longhorns atmosphere in Texas for that game was so much greater and so much better than the Dallas Cowboys game. So relating this to the NFL, Dallas Cowboys fans, okay? You Dallas Cowboys fans, you absolutely suck, bro. I was sitting there for Sunday Night Football. You've got Tom Brady coming to your house. Everybody's standing up. Woo! Woo! It's week 1. It's Sunday night. Yeah, we got the bright lights. And then all of a sudden, all of a sudden, we've got first quarter, first drive. Everybody is in their seats, sitting down. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. If you've ever been to a Cowboys game, you guys suck. You need to get louder. You need to be more rowdy. I don't know if you need to be on some sort of alcohol or something, but you guys stink. You fans are absolutely, I don't know if it's spoiled because you guys don't win anything. I don't know if you're like disgusted at the amount that you had to pay for a water. I don't know what it is, but the Cowboys fans just sat there. I literally felt bad when I was standing up and cheering. There was like not that many Bucs fans there. I was wearing my Tom Brady Bucs jersey. Usually I like going to games where I'm away, right? I like to go to games where I'm on the road. I like to be the villain. I like to play the heel. You know what I mean? I like to be Triple H in 2000, but I wasn't able to do that because these fans literally did not give one single fuck about whether they won the game or not. I mean, the only times that the Cowboys fans actually did anything was when their team took a penalty. And then all of a sudden, their team takes a penalty and they're cheering and they're booing. It's like, where were you the rest of the time when the Brady is in the shotgun on third down and the Cowboys fans are sitting there eating their popcorn or whatever else they got? I mean, absolutely disgusting. The worst performance. You would have thought it was Joe Burrow. You would have thought it was Marcus Mariota in the fourth quarter. You would have thought it was the Detroit Lions defense. No. The worst performance of week one by far, and it's not even particularly close, is the Dallas Cowboys fans for being the worst fans in the NFL at a live event that I have ever been to. Absolutely disgusting performance. I've been to Pittsburgh. I've been to Buffalo. I've been to New England. I've been to Seattle. Okay, I went to college games now. I've been to CFL games. They did not even they weren't even on the BC Lions level of rowdiness here. Absolutely gross performance from the Dallas Cowboys fans. And I totally understand why people hate on Cowboys fans, because they suck. Okay, they suck. Otherwise, I enjoyed the game and Texas. Okay, next up, we've got Geno Smith and Russell Wilson on Monday Night Football. Guys, I was gonna go, and maybe I still will do this. I was gonna go on Madden and live stream how I would approach the last 2 minutes of the Seahawks and the Broncos. I know that I said the Cowboys fans had the worst performance of week one, but the second worst performance of week one was whatever the heck that Hackett and Russell Wilson were doing in the last minute of that football game. What were they doing? So we've got 1 minute and 1 second remaining in the football game. The Denver Broncos are at the 46-yard line of the Seattle Seahawks. They have 3 timeouts. It is 4th and 5. 4th and 5, 3 timeouts, 1 minute, 1 second. So in this situation, Russell Wilson hurries up. I just don't understand how you can be a professional coach or a professional quarterback and not understand fundamental game clock situations that I understand simply through playing Madden. I mean, any little kid that has played Madden religiously could put you through the game management situation that the Denver Broncos absolutely just totally botched at the end of that football game. It was disgusting what they did there. It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So First off, why haven't you practiced? It looked like they didn't practice this situation. Okay, we've got the ball at the 45. It's 4th and 5. Are we going to kick a 64-yard field goal, or are we going to go for it? What is the call? What is the call? What are you doing? Are you going to kick it, or are you going to go for it? For you to even think that that you have a better chance to make a 64-yard fucking field goal over putting the ball in Russell Wilson's hands. All you had to do was put it in the hands of the guy that you traded half your team for. You traded your entire franchise for Russell Wilson, and you don't go for it on 4th and 5. But not only that, okay, this is how this should have played out. This should have played out. You go, okay, so you get the 4th and 5. You hurry up. Now, this is why I would hurry up and call a play. Peyton Manning on his Manning cast suggested that they call a timeout. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And he suggests you call a timeout and you get a play and you go, okay? And you basically put the game on the line right there through a timeout. You get situated. Everyone understands the play. You have a money play that you go to. Now, personally, you should understand the situation already that on 3rd down, you're probably not going to get the 1st down. So you're going to hurry up. You're going to have 2 plays, and you're going to be able to go for it on 4th down and quickly hurry up. And the defense is going to have to audible, change the play, do something, to be able to counteract what you're doing. So, the defense, if you don't call a timeout, the defense won't be able to prepare either. So they won't have their right personnel. They might be tired. The pass rush will be a little slow. The coverage might be tired. Whatever the case is, I think what you do there is you hurry up. You still have 3 timeouts. The reason why this is important to me is because you still have 3 timeouts. So even if you don't get the 1st down, if you get the 1st down, you call a timeout, and then you go for a couple more yards and kick a field goal for a manageable field goal. But if you don't get it, you still got 3 timeouts. You can call timeouts 3 times, get the ball back one more time. So that's why I would have hurried up, had 2 plays on 3rd down and long, hurry up, 4th and 5, tired defense, throw a little play to Javonte again, let him break 15 tackles, get the 1st down, and then you call a timeout. Okay, now we go to the sidelines. We got a timeout. We still got 2 timeouts left. And then you can run it, or you can throw it, or you could do whatever you want. Get 10 more yards, call another timeout. Then you get an easy field goal for McManus, who's a good kicker. But do you expect any kicker in the NFL to hit a 64-yard field goal in Seattle, not a dome, in Seattle, in pressure situation? Is just ridiculous. It's ludicrous. I don't get it. It's awful. Okay? It's awful. It's the worst I've ever seen. I was on the plane watching the game with my burnt ass face, and I was yelling at the TV, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing? What are they doing? And my dad's beside me, and he's like, I don't know what they're doing. The guy across from me was looking over to me like, what are these guys doing? I have no idea. The girl behind me was like, what are they doing? I don't know. The dog that was on the plane literally barked at the TV. I don't know what happened. It was the worst clock management of week 1 easily. And then not only do we get that clock management, we get Russell Wilson on the 1-yard line, which is an absolute privilege to watch. I mean, Russell Wilson on the 1-yard line. I would pay so much money to just watch Russell Wilson on the 1-yard line just continuously. Like, how many times does it take Russell Wilson to score a touchdown on the 1-yard line? So we've got 2 situations for Russell Wilson on the 1-yard line. He audibles, I think, to a run, an inside zone. They called an inside zone run from shotgun on 4th and 1. And Russell Wilson is doing the Phillip Rivers where he's looking at the sidelines. He's looking at the crowd. He's all confused. He's like going like this. He's clapping. He's like, snap the ball. So then when it's 4th and 1, I think it was 4th. It might have been 3rd. I don't remember. Regardless, it's this big play in the game. It had no chance. You're running the ball out of shotgun up the middle, and everyone knows it's a run because you're you're going like this with the time expiring. Everybody knows what's happening. So the defense just shoots the gap and the play's over and there's a fumble. The play before that, the 1 yard line, you've got Melvin Gordon in the game over Javonte Williams. This is why I don't think the Broncos are going to make the playoffs. The coach is a hack, okay? His name's literally Hackett. He's a hack. Why do you have Melvin Gordon in the game when Javonte Williams literally could not be tackled? I mean, I don't understand why Melvin Gordon is playing so much. Why is Melvin Gordon in the game at the 1 yard line? Why? You've got Javonte Williams. Does anyone understand how good Javonte Williams is? I don't understand it. Okay, now we must get to the Messiah, the great one. They call him the glorious Geno Smith. Geno Smith. Say it right now, flat out. And we're going to get to my boy Tuanon later. If anyone in their right mind thinks that Geno Smith is not better than Tua, I don't know what to say. Geno Smith is the Messiah. Geno Smith is the great one. They have named him the great one. Geno Smith probably outplayed Russell Wilson in this game for like a solid 3 quarters. I thought Russ kind of got, his feet underneath him at the end. But Geno Smith is, I've been saying to you guys, Geno Smith's not that bad. Like, he's clearly better than Drew Lock. He should clearly start. He's one of the better backups in the NFL. And I thought he played well last year. Geno Smith, man. I thought he played fantastic early in the game from what I got to see. And then later in the game, I just felt like the Denver Broncos defense, their front, really played well. Bradley Chubb played an awesome football game in that one. I'm looking forward to seeing him for the rest of the year. He had 2 sacks when they needed it the most. Hey, I've been critical of Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy played a good game in that one. I don't think he's ever going to live up to what people thought he was coming out of Alabama. But the guy can play. He had a huge touchdown in that game. I do question the Denver defense a little bit. I do think they're a little bit overrated, and I think we saw that in the first half. I think they're a little bit overrated, but when, in that second half, they made adjustments. They figured out what the Seahawks, Geno Smith, were doing to them, and I felt like once they were able to dominate the line of scrimmage, they were able to get after them. I mean, there's no reason why the Broncos should have not won this game. There was no reason they lost this game. Like, they lost this game because they fumbled twice at the 1 yard line, and Russell Wilson and the hack of the coach couldn't figure out simple Madden game clock management. So that's really why they lost the game. But this is where you don't overreact. Like, the Broncos are clearly a better football team than Seattle. Seattle is clearly not very good. A lot of what went into this win for Seattle was, yes, their defense played their ass off. Yes, Pete Carroll chewed more gum than anybody's chewed in a history of a football game. He was jumping up and down, like Bethel after his picks this week. But I felt like the Seahawks, they played hard. They played the 12s. Some real football fans, not those Cowboys clowns. Real football fans, the 12s who have the worst jersey in the NFL, those are real football fans. They made a difference in that game at home for Pete Carroll's squad. Rashad Penny, he's a good player. DK Metcalf's a beast. Tyler Lockett's good. But, the Seahawks offensive line is going to be a problem. I feel bad for Geno next week against Nick Bosa. That's going to be an issue. Their defense, I thought that their young secondary, was really feisty in the game. But I just don't know if they're going to be able to hold up. I thought Russ, once he kind of got comfortable, he was able to kind of move the ball. They just struggled in the red zone, really, at the 1 yard line, to be specific. But I do think there's legit questions, like before the year, I think there's legit questions. I don't think you can reasonably say that Russell Wilson is an elite quarterback anymore. I understand he's on a new team. He's in a new system. There's things that he needs to figure out, but I don't think you can say Russell Wilson. I think we definitively know now that Russell Wilson's no longer in that elite category. He's probably in that second tier of players. Like, I'm obviously joking about Geno, but not really, not really, that Geno is the Messiah. But, like, Russell Wilson is clearly not an elite quarterback. He's in the second tier of quarterbacks now. And I think that was proven in this game, not only by Russell Wilson's lack of success in the first half, but Geno's success in the first half showcased that maybe Russ wasn't, fully in the right for what went down in Seattle the last couple of years. But I'm not too worried about the Broncos. I just think they are what I thought they were. They're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I think they obviously slipped up in this one, but they were very unfortunate, very unlucky to lose that game based on some of the drives and some of the plays in the game. Okay. All right, next up, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, the Bengals are back because they absolutely, positively bungled this football game. And you've got to wonder, is the Cincinnati regression coming to a household near you? And that is the ultimate question about this football game. And this is going to be a big spot for people to rather overreact or underreact. And I think personally, this is an overreact spot. I think this is going to be a common take, but I think rightfully so for anybody that has watched the game. I think that the Bengals lost this game because Joe Burrow was really bad. That's really why they lost this game. Now, could regression be coming for Joe Burrow? Yeah, probably, to be honest. I mean, Joe Burrow was really good last year, but also kind of fluky in a lot of ways. He completed a lot of kind of low percentage downfield passes at a very efficient rate, and I don't know how sustainable that is this year. I just think Joe Burrow looked like a quarterback who was playing a tick slow. I thought that he went, a little bit too slow in his reads, a little bit too nonchalant, a little bit too overconfident. He holds on the ball. Obviously, we know he has flaws, but I just felt like he was a little bit, this whole team, really, the Bengals' whole team, especially offensively early in the game, was just very overconfident. They came into the game thinking, we're the Bengals. We went to the Super Bowl. We're going to be great. We're going to win this division. We should do this and that. And nothing's actually happened in the season yet. And sometimes young teams who are talented, this can happen to you where you come out slow. You get hit in the mouth, punched square in the face, and you don't react quick enough. And I think that's what happened. But the Bengals, they surged in the second half. They found a rhythm even without T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd stepped up. I mean, if you guys don't think Joe Mixon is absolutely, positively an elite running back in this league, you guys need to get some sort of eye test. This guy is really freaking good at football. I don't understand. Joe Mixon has great vision. Joe Mixon has great lateral quickness, vision. I mean, this guy's phenomenal. I thought he was the best player other than Jamar Chase, and I think he is the best player other than Jamar Chase on this football team. And I don't understand why the Cincinnati Bengals continue to play LaMichael P. Ryan. I think that's his name. I don't even know his name. P. Ryan over Joe Mixon. Why are we taking Joe Mixon out of the game? Zach Taylor for P. Ryan, who's not even good. It's not like the guy has ran for 1,000 yards multiple times like Melvin Gordon, at least the hack. I thought you weren't a hack. Zach Taylor proved to me that he's still not very good at coaching. I mean, that's what it comes down to. What would the score be in this game if Mike Tomlin coached the Bengals? I mean, 1,000-2? Zach Taylor was terrible in this game. Terrible. And then you've not only got Zach Taylor messing up simple clock management shit, but you've also got this football team. Joe Burrow, bro, you're playing the fucking Steelers, okay? The Steelers can't score a point. At a certain point, you've got to realize you're not playing the Chiefs. You're not playing the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. Guys, You're not playing the Chiefs. You're not playing the Bills. You're not playing Cooper Kupp. Yeah, just Cooper Kupp. That's the entire Rams team, okay? You're not playing them. You're playing the Steelers. The Steelers. The Steelers can't move the ball. Like, Joe Burrow. This is, like, football 101. 101. Don't lose the game. Don't lose the game, Joe Burrow. Your coach is already trying to lose the game. Just, if it's not there, just throw it away. You're playing a team that can't score points. Just don't turn the ball over. And then he turns it over not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times in the game. 4, and then I think he fumbled it too. I don't even know at this point. So Zach Taylor is taking his best player off the field every third down because he thinks he's got fancy. Yo, stop taking Joe. You lost the Super Bowl because Joe Mixon was not on the field. Why? Second, you got Joe Burrow who just doesn't understand how to win a game ugly. In the NFL, you can't throw for 500 yards every game. You can't do it. You can't do it. You have to run the ball. You have to throw it away. You have to make smart decisions. Stop forcing the ball to one player every play. They had 32 first downs to 13 first downs, and they lost the game. And they lost the game because Joe Burrow doesn't know how to win the game ugly, and Zach Taylor is an absolute just stiff. Stupid. And then we've got the Steelers. Like, I thought the fade ball to nobody was like gonna stop when Ben Roethlisberger retired. We've still got Mitch Trubisky and the Steelers offense just drop back, and our routes are, we got 2 guys going down the sidelines, and our money play, third down, our money play is just throw the ball in the general vicinity of a receiver, and hopefully they can like do a spinorama in the air, do a somersault, a backflip, and then come and catch it with like OBJ. Like, what type of offense are the Steelers running in? I mean, every play is like, do they throw the ball in the middle of the field? Like, did anyone see them throw the ball in the middle of the field? We've got Najee Harris, who's running for -2 yards a carry on like a broken leg. And we've got an offensive line that can't block. The Steelers' offense is atrocious. Atrocious. It's terrible. Like, really bad. But I will give the Steelers credit for one thing. Not only did their defense play well, play hard, of course, we thought that was going to happen. TJ Watt's a freaking animal. I hope he comes back, and I hope he's great. And I hope that he doesn't JJ Watt the rest of his career and get hurt every damn season. Minkah Fitzpatrick was the best player on the field, probably other than Jamar Chase. Minkah Fitzpatrick was amazing in that game. Like, not only from a coverage standpoint, from a run defense standpoint, from a damn special team standpoint. I haven't always been the biggest Minkah fan. That guy was absurd. Their studs truly took over on defense. I think that Brian Flores is, probably a little bit of sprinkle of his like dynamic blitzing packages helped them in this game, put them over the top. We'll see what their defense looks like without TJ Watt. They're playing the absolute barn burner of an offense named the New England Patriots next week, and the greatest offensive coordinator to ever put a pencil in his ear, Matt Patricia. So we'll see how the Steelers defense looks against a real offense next week. But, they played great. And I think the thing about the Steelers is, like, they're always going to come out flying early in the year. They're going to come out tough. They're going to come out physical. They're going to come out to set the tone, because that's what Mike Tomlin does. He gets you ready for the regular season. Zach Taylor's a little, hack on the sidelines, doesn't know what he's doing. And he didn't have his team prepared. They weren't ready. They were soft. The only guy that was playing from the jump was Joe Mixon. Everybody else just didn't play. And Burrow was an absolute pleasure in that game. So we've got the next game. Joe Burrow is not in my top 5. I'm taking him out. How good are the Bills? How good are the Bills? We've got to go all the way back to Thursday. So I missed like the first half of this game because I was flying to Texas. So I missed a good portion of the game, but I saw the unraveling of the Los Angeles Rams in front of my eyes. We will talk about the Rams here in a second, but we first must answer because, you know, Ultra's crowning them the Super Bowl champs already. He's saying he's putting loud noises on his Ultra 10 beside the Bills. I don't know if he thinks he's Will Ferrell. I don't know, but we've got Ultra crowning the Bills like Dennis Green crowned the Bears in 2005 or 2006. And the Buffalo Bills, we've got to ask, how good are they? Josh Allen is really good. We knew that. I mean, he's arguably the best quarterback in the NFL. He is spectacular. He's got great, he just continues to be an assassin from inside and outside the pocket, an absolute unicorn of an athlete. But the guy, Josh Allen, please, I'm literally praying to the football heavens. Slide. Stop getting hit in the fourth quarter up by 20 points. Can you just slide? Like, run out of bounds, slide, give yourself up. We do not need you getting smoked in the fourth quarter up by 1,000 points against the Rams. We don't need it. I don't need to see it. We want you to be playing for a long time. Stop getting hit. The Rams were literally took them, and if anyone knows, you know, wrestling, the Dudley Boys finisher, they got the 3D through the table on Josh Allen in that game. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then we've got the Bills' offensive line, I thought played really well. I thought they did a good job protecting. You know, Aaron Donald did win some of his matchups, but Allen, their game plan was superb. They got the ball out quick. Something that Bruce Arians doesn't understand. Thank God that guy's retired. And then we've got Stephon Diggs absolutely owning Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's got to go on watch. I mean, he's got to go on. We need an award for the guy that needs to get his head out of his rear end. That award would go to Jalen Ramsey. Absolutely. Jalen Ramsey, what are you doing? You have been nobody wants to say this. Jalen Ramsey has been like downright bad for the past like 3 or 4 football games that the guy has played. He has been burnt toast. Absolutely burnt toast. The Buffalo Bills defensive line was the story of this game. Von Miller was the story of this game. Von Miller getting after the LA Rams, sacking Matthew Stafford, destroying, Matthew Stafford and this offensive line. They called Andrew Whitworth. He did not answer. Andrew Whitworth, I heard somebody, I don't remember who it was after the game. They're like, they should have wrapped up Andrew Whitworth and not allowed him to leave the building. Let the guy retire. He's 4,000 years old. Can we just let Andrew Whitworth in peace? Can he be with his family? The guy's wanted to retire for 8 years and they won't let the guy rest. Let Andrew Whitworth be Andrew Whitworth. He doesn't got to play anymore, guys. Come on. But Von Miller was amazing. Ed Oliver's really good. Still not, people aren't realizing how good he is. Gregory Rousseau in year 2 looks good. Jonathan Phillips adds a bit of pass rush from the interior for them. Shaq Lawson, some of their rotation players as well. I just think their D-line, if they can be that good for the whole year, this is going to be a real good team. A real contender this year. Because not only will they be able to get up on you and score points on you and be relentless, but they're also going to be able to finish games. Von Miller is going to finish the game. And Von Miller is the type of guy that you have to double in a big moment. You have to pay attention to Von Miller because you don't want to lose to Von Miller. You don't want to be, you don't want to lose the game because you didn't block Von Miller with 2 people. So that's going to allow other people to get after the quarterback. Okay? So the Bills D-line could be the real reason this team is a true Super Bowl team. The involvement of the running backs for the Bills was kind of interesting. Not a lot of James Cook. James Cook fumbles. He's out for the year. If that was Belichick, he'd never see the field for the rest of the season. Zach Moss came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he's playing. Devin Singletary's playing. Gabe Davis breakout season incoming. Jamison Crowder looked good after a training camp where a lot of people didn't think he was going to start or play very much. The secondary without Tre'Davious White was fairly solid. But the Bills, they're who we thought they were. They're the best team in the league right now. There's no question they're the best team in the NFL. And they deserve that right to be ranked number 1 entering week 2. We'll see if they can continue it, though, because the team they played, the Rams, I don't know how good the Rams are, guys. I'm legitimately concerned about the Rams. I understand some Rams fans out there are going to be like, Mitch, you're overreacting. You just said don't overreact to week 1. I understand. Teams aren't as good as they play. Teams aren't as bad as they play, especially in week 1. But the Rams have legitimate problems. The Rams have all the issues that we thought they might have. Offensively, Matthew Stafford, his arm, I don't know. He was a little bit sporadic. He was a little bit off his game. The arm angles, because Matthew Stafford is such a angle-based passer. He's going to throw, he's going to have his arm all over the place like this, like a magic wand with a spell. And he wasn't able to do that functionally, which allows him to make all these throws that he usually makes. So Matthew Stafford's arm is concerning me a little bit. He's not really moving anywhere. He's not really great at escaping pressure. He's good. He's great within the pocket. He's one of the best pocket passers in the game. The offensive line was really bad. We saw them get dominated in games last year, but now it's even more worrisome because you've got guys like Austin Corbett, who's gone at guard, and Andrew Whitworth, who's obviously gone. And that was really the issue. The Bills, Noteboom got absolutely dummied in this game. And then they were also collapsing the pocket on Stafford a lot of the time. And what's even more concerning than pass protection is the run game. The Rams cannot run the ball. The Bills really were not even concerned about stopping the run in this game. And that, I've never seen a Rams offense be successful in the McVay era without any semblance of a running game. That's a real problem for me with that offense is Cam Akers didn't look good. Henderson ended up being the starter per se, but it didn't really matter who was running it. They couldn't get a lot of push against a team that wasn't really selling out to stop the run. So teams will be able to play a lot of coverage and not really stack the box and still stop them in that department. And then defensively, they look, they don't look like they have a lot of talent on that side of the ball. The second perimeter corner spot's a big issue. David Long, is just not very good. And then when Jalen Ramsey doesn't play well, it's a massive problem because you're expecting Jalen Ramsey to shut down a side of the football so that you can kind of allow the other side to gain more coverage. If Ramsey can shut a guy down, then that allows you to shift coverage elsewhere or double another guy or whatever. But if Ramsey isn't very good, then that puts more pressure on Troy Hill and these safeties who are just kind of average, Jordan Fuller's kind of average. These guys aren't very good. Bobby Wagner, I don't know why. Does anybody watch my content? Bobby Wagner, I've been ranking the guy outside the top 10 linebackers for the past 3 years, and yet we still pay the guy $15 million or whatever they're paying him a year to play for the Rams. The guy can't run. He's old. He can't cover anymore. And they're playing him in a defense where he's not a downhill run stuff. He's not a Dante Hightower sledgehammer. I'm going to smash your face in half and tackle you in the backfield. Like, he's always been a guy that's like more active sideline to sideline. He's been able to hide behind big defensive linemen in front of him and like move that way. And he no longer has that ability. And like the Bills were just torching the dude like all day long. And Ernest Jones is better than Bobby Wagner at this point. Honestly, like, it was bad. It was really bad. And I think Sean McVay was on the phone with OBJ like the whole second half. Like, yo, bro, where you at? Because I'm sorry. I mean, shout out to Ben, but the guy, he's a special teams player. I'm sorry. He doesn't deserve to be out there. They don't trust Tutu Atwell. He's straight up bad, okay? Cooper Kupp is amazing. But Allen Robinson is washed. Like, does this team have anybody other than Cooper Kupp right now on offense? Anybody at all? So it makes the offensive line look worse. It makes Stafford look worse. Like, you've legitimately got Ben Skowronek as your number 3 receiver. Like, he's a great special teams player. He's not a starting receiver in the freaking NFL. They better get OBJ back. They better get OBJ back. I mean, this is going to be a problem for them. I'm really concerned about the Rams, guys. Like, because, and it's not because I'm trying to overreact or I'm trying to hate or whatever. Like, I love Stafford. I hope he's healthy. I hope he does well. But, like, the problem with the Rams is when I do a preseason assessment for a team and I lay out all the strengths and then I lay out all the weaknesses, and I understand that they played the best team in the league, so it's not going to look this bad every game. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not going to be this bad. The Rams aren't going to be bad. They'll probably still make the playoffs with that coach and that quarterback as long as he's healthy. And the players they have, they'll still make the playoffs. But they're not a contender right now. I mean, that team's got serious flaws. And the stars and scrub approach of their team is starting to become worrisome, because if Aaron Donald drops off and Jalen Ramsey isn't playing his best, and you don't got Von Miller on the other side of Leonard Floyd, and Cooper Kupp's the only receiver because Allen Robinson is absolutely positively washed, I'm worried about this team because, again, when I do a preseason report and I put all of your weaknesses on the paper and I put all your strengths on the paper and all of your weaknesses come true in the first game, that is really worrisome. So not only are the Bills the best team in the league, probably right now, maybe not at the end of the year, but right now, the Rams, I don't think are a contender right now. And that, that is not something I thought I would be saying after that game. Okay, baby. Let's talk about something positive. We've got my guy, the best running back in the NFL. Yes, I said it. I've been saying it. I took him, everybody in the BLV fantasy league. This is an overreaction, 100%. You better be overreacting. Saquon Barkley is fucking back. You better pay attention. I have not seen a running back carry his team to a victory in the way that Saquon Barkley carried the absolutely putrid, piss-poor New York Giants to a victory over the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, guys, Ultra would tell you, Mr. Stats himself, the Titans were one of the best run defenses in the NFL last year. Saquon Barkley ran for 9 yards a carry. Not only did he run for 9 yards a carry, but he also led his team in routes run. He's the whole team. Saquon's the whole team. And you've got Brian Daboll, big balls Brian, with the game on the line, with the play call of the week, the little shovel pass. Saquon breaks 3 tackles, gets into the end zone. The Giants win in a game that I really should have made a best bet plus the 6 because I bet it like a month ago and then I pussied out because everybody was going to say, all this crap. And I didn't want to bet against Mike Vrabel okay? But Big Balls Brian and Saquads carried the New York Giants to a 1-0 start, and I still do not think the Giants are very good. They're not very good, but Saquon is back. Saquon is that dude. He's the best running back in the league, and Daniel Jones actually played pretty good in this game. He had one really bad throw, like one really awful pass, like it looked like Joe Burrow, like where he just threw it to the other team, and it was really bad. He was trying to force it to Saquon. It didn't work out. But the rest of the game, Daniel Jones was really good under pressure in this game, statistically speaking. And I thought he played good, considering his offensive line was the worst this week against teams that didn't blitz. So when it came to non-blitzing offensive lines, like protecting the quarterback, they were really bad. So their offensive line is still pretty bad, but their run blocking was a lot better. And Saquon utilized that to full advantage. He's back. Giants won, baby. Giants win. They still suck, though. Next, we got to talk about the Texans and the Colts. I don't know whether or not to be concerned about the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is a team that I still need to know more about. I still need to see more of the Indianapolis Colts. But I will say this. Carson Wentz was better than Matt Ryan in week 1. And I know none of you Colts fans want to hear this, but how in the blue hell did the Indianapolis Colts tie the Houston Texans? And not only did they tie the Houston Texans, they were losing 20-3, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they were getting their asses kicked for like 3 quarters. And the Colts had okay, you go through the stats. The Colts had 33 first downs to Houston's 20. The Colts had 517 yards to Houston's 299. They had 9 more minutes of possession. And Jonathan Taylor played about as good as Jonathan Taylor could play. He had 31 carries for 161 yards and a touchdown. And despite 517 yards, 9 more minutes of possession, 161 yards rushing, Michael Pittman at 120 plus yards receiving, the Colts couldn't beat the freaking Texans? Are you serious? They couldn't beat the Texans? I mean, good for the Texans. Good for O.J. Howard, who had 2 tutties in this game. Brandon Cooks, everybody just continues to disrespect the archer, Brandon Cooks. But he does it again. How do you tie the Texans in the first week of the year? High expectations. Nicholas Gills got you in the Super Bowl, and you tie the Houston Texans. I'm concerned about Matt Ryan. I don't think Matt Ryan is going to be able to make it through the year. I think Matt Ryan is going to be a liability to this team at the end of the day. And I like Matt Ryan. And I was expecting good things from Matt Ryan. I don't think he can get this team where they want to go. I think he's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. I don't think we're going to see some sort of time machine, Matt Ryan going, back in time, rejuvenated, especially from what we saw from Atlanta. Especially what we saw from Atlanta with Marcus Mariota, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Matt Ryan, I'm concerned. The Colts, though, they should have won this game, considering they had 200 more yards than the other team, considering they had 9 more minutes of possession. But it's also concerning that they didn't win the game despite all those things. How do you only score 20 points with 500 yards? What? Anyways, next, we've got Baker Mayfield. No revenge for Baker. Now, the Panthers started off the first half, and they were absolutely putrid. But the main theme I've got from this game from both sides, who is in charge of the Carolina Panthers? And what idiot decided that Christian McCaffrey shouldn't get the football for this team 30 times? The guy got the ball like 13 times. What type of idiot, jackass, does not give Christian McCaffrey the football? Give him the ball. What, do you think Baker Mayfield's the next Peyton Manning? Yep. I get it. He's better than Sam Darnold. You want him to have his revenge game. You know how he could have his revenge game? You give the ball to Christian McCaffrey. He's your best player. He's your best player. You give him the ball 13 times? Huh? No wonder you lost the game. You give Christian McCaffrey the ball 13 times. It's really not that hard. All you got to do is give Christian McCaffrey the football, and you probably would win this game. On the flip side, what did the Browns do? We've got Jacoby Brissett. He's not very good at football. We're going to give Nick Chubb the ball. We're going to give Kareem Hunt the ball. That's the difference in the game right there, ladies and gents. Nick Chubb got the ball, and Christian McCaffrey didn't get the ball. It's not that hard. It's basic thugonomics. You give the ball to Christian McCaffrey, he's your best player. You give the ball to Nick Chubb, he's your best player. It's really not hard. The Browns kicker is really good. He's from LSU. Turtle knows him well. I think he's from LSU. He kicked that ball like 80 yards in the game winner. What else we got here? Myles Garrett's good. I don't know if you knew that, but he dominated. He whooped the crap out of the left tackle, the rookie. That was really bad. And I don't know why, like, Matt Rule and Ben McAdoo, like, I guess we should have saw this coming. How do you not, like, understand that Ike Ekwonu is going to get his ass kicked by Myles Garrett, like, the entire game? I guess they kind of figured that out, at the end of the game. But that was basically the entire first half. Myles Garrett was just dominating the game. What I will say positively about the Panthers and Baker was they're definitely going to have better quarterback play this year. Like, Baker was, once he kind of got settled in the game, Baker made some big throws. Baker made a really nice deep ball to Robbie Anderson. He showcased his arm on that one. Something Sam Darnold would have never done. I mean, Darnold would have sailed that by 20 yards. Right on a rope. Perfect. Right on a rope. I think Baker will be good for the Panthers. I think the Panthers, a little bit of a rough start, but I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be about what I expect, but I wouldn't expect this team to be great or anything like that. Okay. Robert Saleh. Okay, really quick on the Jets-Ravens game. I have very few things to say other than Robert Saleh is like the worst coach in the NFL, period. Like, that's it. That's all I got to say is if anyone does not think Robert Saleh is the worst coach in the league, I don't know why he got a coaching job. Other than his ability to run the stairs at a stadium before the game, I don't know why this guy has a coaching job. The other thing I'll say about this game, two other things. The Ravens, they've got to be healthy. The Ravens are not going to be good if they're not healthy. The left tackle's a problem for them right now, and they need to be healthy for Lamar. I still need to see more out of Bateman. I still need to see more about the passing game from the Ravens. I didn't think it was a superb performance from the Baltimore Ravens. It did help that they played the worst coach in the NFL. And then the next thing I'll say is the Jets defense has a lot of talent. Sauce Gardner is legit. He allowed like one catch all game. He's a legit lockdown guy in his rookie year. They've got a really strong defensive line. Don't be surprised if the Jets hang around in that Browns game. I think that's going to be a real tight defensive battle that absolutely nobody in their right mind will be watching other than Connor McLeod. So the Ravens, they did what they had to do. They completed the objective. They moved forward. They're 1-0. I wasn't super impressed. I was impressed by the competitiveness of the Jets front seven, and I continue to be unimpressed with the worst coach in the NFL, Robert Saleh. The guy sucks. I don't know what else to say. Next. All right. This is something I didn't think I would be saying today. Carson Wentz played really good. I thought Carson Wentz actually looked really good in this game versus Jacksonville. You know, I had the Jags as a best bet, and don't get me wrong, Jacksonville should have won this game 100%. Like, Travis Etienne dropped a pass for a touchdown. What else happened? They fumbled, I think. Like a really bad fumble. A couple things in this game happened where it was like really bad from the Jaguars' perspective. Let's go through the notes. But first things first, Carson Wentz, you played well, man. That's cool. You played well. I've been heavily critical of Carson Wentz. I thought he played good. I thought he looked much better from a mobility perspective. I thought like he looked quicker. Like, he looked twitchier. You know how, like, Carson Wentz over the past couple of years has looked, like, super robotic and slow and, like, just, like incapable of moving? Like, Carson Wentz looked a lot more smooth and, like, able to shift around and situate himself better. Yes, you saw some ups. You saw some downs from his plays. He did throw some picks. But I thought Carson Wentz, he threw the ball a lot down the field. Like, that's something that I thought was very, very interesting about this game, was for a Ron Rivera football team to trust a quarterback like Carson Wentz to throw the ball down the field as much as they did. The Washington continuously was pushing the ball down the field. This wasn't like Carson Wentz just dinking and dunking and, you know, just throwing screens, and there was some of that, but a lot of what Carson was doing was like, you know, drop back, hit my back foot, I'm slinging it. You know, I'm going 15, 20 yards down the field. I'm going deep to Terry McLaurin for a beauty of a touchdown. I'm trying to hit Curtis Samuel. I'm trying to hit Jahan Dotson one-on-one. Like, yeah, I thought Carson Wentz looked good. And on the flip side, Trevor Lawrence also looked pretty good. I think Wentz was better, but I thought that Lawrence was under a lot of duress early in the game. He moved around really well. Jonathan Allen is a beast. Daron Payne is a beast. They were certainly an issue. The Jaguars' issues on the offensive line that I thought they had entering the season certainly were existing there in this game early, but I thought Lawrence was a lot more consistent from an accuracy perspective. I thought the offense overall looked a lot more clean, a lot more like there was a lot more easy completions, a lot more rhythm throws for Trevor Lawrence in this game. And I thought Lawrence showed a lot of composure in the game, in the pocket. I thought he made a lot. I thought he was just more consistent. Like play to play, he was just hitting his throws a lot more consistently. There were still like sporadic bad decisions and like weird throws and stuff where you're like, what was that? Or like he forced that maybe. But for the most part, I thought Lawrence played pretty good. And I thought this was actually a lot more watchable, like an offensive explosion, a lot more than I thought it would be entering the game. James Robinson looked really good coming off the Achilles. I thought he showed some explosiveness. There's like this bug on my mic. I don't know what's going on. James Robinson looked really good coming off the Achilles. I thought Zay Jones looked good. But first and foremost, I mean, Christian Kirk. We owe Christian Kirk an apology. Christian Kirk looked like a number one receiver in this game, had over 100 yards, was impacting the game after the catch, underneath, intermediate, and deep, and he was doing it all. Curtis Samuel, on the flip side, a receiver that everybody forgot about, played one of the best games I've ever seen him play, maybe the best game I've ever seen him play of his career, and a lot of that had to do with Carson Wentz's ability to get the ball down the field. He was just letting it rip. In a lot of ways, Lawrence and Carson Wentz are actually very similar players. Like, they're big, strong athletes. They're a little bit inconsistent mechanically and accuracy, and they may be not the smartest, but they're really raw athletes. They thrive in these like high leverage plays where they can make ridiculous plays. They've got like really high level ability, but also really low ability. So I noticed that kind of the back and forth between the two on both sides. ETN flashed a little bit. Jaguars should have probably won the game. They missed a field goal, really easy chip shot field goal in the game, and they also dropped a touchdown. Tyson Campbell had a really nice pick in the game, and I came away intrigued by both teams. I felt like both quarterbacks played well. I felt like both offenses showed better than I thought they would, and I felt like there were flashes from both teams. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams made the playoffs this year. Like, that's how impressed I was. I actually felt like this wasn't a game where two bad teams went back and forth. I actually felt like the play from both teams was pretty good. Like, I felt like this was actually a better game than most people would think. So, if you haven't seen this game and you're intrigued by these teams, go back and watch the game. I felt like both of these teams have a chance to be competitive in their divisions. I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville, once they get things figured out, could win that division or at least compete with Indianapolis. And then on the flip side, with Dallas out of the running, I think Washington could legitimately, with the way that Carson Wentz looked, and as long as he stays healthy, I wouldn't be shocked if Washington made the playoffs either. So that's intriguing. Also, Trayvon Walker is freaking good. That's the last note I got. Trayvon Walker is really good. All right, how we doing in the chat? What's going on, guys? If you haven't already, Gronk spike the like button. Let's keep it going. Okay, we got to talk about the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons blew it again. I don't understand this franchise. Every time they get a lead, they blow it. Every single time. Every time they blew another lead in this game. They were up 26-10. 16 points in the fourth quarter. They were up on Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints, and they could not finish the deal. Marcus Mariota trips over his own feet, fumbles the ball on a 3rd and 1, and you knew right there the game was a goner. He also missed an open guy on an easy, I think it was a 2nd or 3rd down, crosser. Or earlier in that drive where I was like, oof. I don't know. Mariota played a really good game in this one, but he also, kind of choked. It was kind of like Matt Ryan with the Atlanta Falcons. For the most part, he played really well, but at the end, he kind of choked. So that's what I kind of got from the Atlanta Falcons blowing that one. But let's talk about the game a little bit. Cordell Patterson, the guy is really good. Cordell Patterson is the real deal Holy Field. Cordell Patterson was catching it, running it, breaking away, just going off against the Saints. They had no answer for Cordell Patterson on outside zone all game long. Arthur Smith was just run the ball right, flip it, run the ball left. Run the ball right, run the ball left, read option, play action. By the way, Arthur Smith, phenomenal job. This might have been Arthur Smith's best job coaching a game of his head coaching career. There was not many passes in this game where Marcus Mariota just dropped back. Almost every pass, there was some sort of movement of the pocket. There was some sort of play action. There was some sort of motion. There was some sort of ability to take the Saints defensive line out of the game. And this is something that every team that plays the Saints needs to learn from. If you want to lose to the Saints, allow their defensive line to whoop your ass, and that's how you're going to lose to the Saints. If you want to beat the Saints, you have to do things to play with that defensive line. Make them move left to right. make them chase the quarterback, get your quarterback outside the pocket, move the pocket a little bit, play action, do some things to allow your quarterback time to throw. Max protect, run some play action. If you want to lose to the Saints, let their defensive line whoop your ass. If you don't want to lose to the Saints, take the defensive line out of the game. And Arthur Smith did a great job of that. I also just loved watching the Falcons offense. And I said that in the preseason. This is an offense that's going to be very watchable. They're going to be very fun. Mariota runs around. They run a lot of weird run plays and read option. Drake London is legitimately good, and that's a great sign for Falcons fans moving forward into your future. He looks like a number one alpha receiver. He led the team in receiving, I believe, in this game. Kyle Pitts struggled. We didn't see much of him in this game. He was being taken out of the game by Marshawn Lattimore for the most part. But you got to find ways to get this guy the ball more than twice. I think that's also part of the reason they lost. Even if you got to hand him the ball, if you got to throw a screen pass, put him in the backfield, whatever you got to do, you got to find a way to get this guy the ball more than you did as your best player, arguably, on your team. But I felt like Arthur Smith did a great job for the most part. I thought Dean Pease had a great game plan, especially in the first half. I thought they did a great job of getting pressure on Jameis, forcing mistakes there, forcing some tough throws. I thought there was a lot of tight window throws in this game for Jameis to make, and he made some down the stretch, but early in the game, it was difficult for him. Taysom Hill was absolutely unreal, as he usually is. Taysom Hill's arguably the best football player in the NFL. The guy had a ridiculous run in this game. He plays tight end. He plays quarterback. He plays on special teams. He plays returner. Taysom Hill looking great in his new role. You love to see Cordero Patterson going head-to-head with Taysom Hill. The Saints defense, really concerning from a run defense perspective. I thought they really struggled for the most part. They weren't able... I didn't love them in coverage either. I didn't feel like their coverage was particularly sound. I think they might have been missing a couple players in the back end. But Jarvis Landry looked the best he's looked in a while. The question I have about that is that him being old and being refreshed due to, it being the first week of the season, or is he actually, looking in a better place physically? Michael Thomas had a good game. It was nice to see him back. Of course, his hands are as good as ever. He vacuumed, 2 of those touchdown catches, just boom, right? That's the way. Michael Thomas has some of the best hands in the NFL. That one catch on the sidelines, it was just so elegant. He just, bam, vacuumed it right into his hands, and was an impressive catch. But I did feel like Michael Thomas wasn't really separating in this game. Very often, almost all of his catches were back shoulders or contested, and Jameis and him seemed to have a very good rapport in those situations. Especially, Winston had to trust him in the second half, and they were able to get that thing done. I do think the Saints were very fortunate to win this game, though. As the Falcons slipped up, they lost the game more so than the Saints won the game. But hey, it's week 1. You don't really know. I don't think the Falcons are very good, but I do think they're going to be a pain in the ass for a lot of teams this year because of how different they are offensively and because of how good their coaching can be at times. And then for the Saints, this is obviously a divisional game. There are things like that where you can struggle in divisional games, but I just don't buy them as a top NFC team. I think they're still on track and on pace, and I think they will make the playoffs like I suggested. I think they're too talented. But their offensive line concerned me. Their defense, perhaps not being as good as I think could be concerning. But if Winston and these receivers play at this level like they did in the second half, I think they'll be able to overcome some of those things. And I do think their defense is going to play better in certain matchups. So the Saints, I'm just kind of they are a little bit who I thought they were, but at the same time, I don't buy people that are putting them into this NFC top upper echelon conversation. I don't see it. I just don't see it. So the Falcons blow it again, but at least I think they'll be a more entertaining team than they were last year, even if they lose more games than they did. last year. Then next, we've got this absolutely atrocity known as the Arizona Cardinals. Hold on. This is going to be what we do today, okay? This is what I'm going to do. We are going to go to our lads, okay? And I am going to read to you the Arizona Cardinals depth chart. Okay, let's do this. This is the team that played the Kansas City Chiefs this week. And after the game, everybody is crowning the Chiefs Super Bowl champions, okay? Let's read this defense to you, okay? This team sucks. We will get to the Chiefs in a second. They're very good. We'll talk about it. But the Cardinals. This is the Cardinals defense. The Cardinals defense, the worst defense in the NFL. Their defensive line. They did not have J.J. Watt. Somebody named Rashard Lawrence is their nose tackle. A human being called Zach Allen plays defensive tackle. At edge, they have a soul named Dennis Gardeck. On the other edge, they have just continuously a second or third edge rusher, Marcus Golden, who's like 32. Their inside linebackers are complete busts, Zaven Collins and Isaiah Simmons, who they don't know where to play him. At corner, they have an okay at best Byron Murphy, a bust who was traded from the Raiders, Trayvon Mullen, a privilege named Marco Wilson, an actual good football player named Budda Baker, a pretty good football player in Jalen Thompson. I will repeat, this is the worst defense in the NFL. These are the names: Rashard Lawrence, Zach Allen, Lakay Fotu, Dennis Gardeck, Isaiah Simmons, Zaven Collins, Marcus Golden, Byron Murphy, Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker, Marco Wilson, some guy named Christian Matthew. That is the defense of the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are bad. Like, really bad. Like, I knew they were going to be bad this year, but, like, they're bad. Like, they're really, like, they're not just bad, they're bad. Okay? They're, like, bad with a capital B-A-D. Okay? The offense, I don't know. This entire, like, the Cardinals are so bad from a roster standpoint that you would think, like, guys were hurt on their team or something. Like, it's really bad. I don't know how is his name Steve Keim? How did this guy survive? What, with this team? How? This team sucks. They suck. Okay? Kyler Murray is good. Okay? But he's really erratic. He has clear deficiencies. He's not able to carry the worst defense in the NFL. And not only that, they're blitzing Patrick Mahomes. Bro! You know it's a problem when you know you don't blitz Patrick Mahomes, but you know that you have to because you've got Zach Allen as your edge rusher. Like, what are you supposed to do if you're the Cardinals defensive staff? I mean, you're playing Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and you got some guy named Rashard Lawrence and Dennis Gardeck as your pass rush. What are you supposed to do? And then when you blitz, you've got Marco Wilson as your cornerback. Who put this team on the field? What a joke. And then their offensive line is a combined 1,000 years old. They've got DJ Humphries, Justin Pugh, Rodney Hudson, who wanted to retire, Will Hernandez, and Calvin Beachum. Their tight end runs a 7'8", Zach Ertz. AJ Green runs an 8'6" at wide receiver. Rondell Moore wasn't playing. Some guy named Greg Dortch was their best receiver. James Conner has always been bad. I don't understand this shit. This team sucks. They're really bad. Like really, I don't want them to be bad. They suck. What do you want me to do? Okay, now, bro, imagine, like, Samuel says they should have rushed 3 and dropped 8. They're gonna rush Rashard Lawrence, Zach Allen, and Dennis Gardeck? Like, what? Who? Okay, but for the Chiefs, okay? Yeah, they're good. We knew they were good. We knew they would be fine. And I think the overreaction of this week for the Chiefs is like, yeah, everybody knew their offense was going to be good against bad defenses like the Cardinals. Like, the Cardinals legitimately have the worst defense in the NFL, in my opinion. Maybe some disagree. Maybe it's the Lions. But the Cardinals' defense is really freaking bad, guys. Like, we knew the Chiefs' offense would be great against this team. We knew that. And they're going to be great against like 90% of defenses and teams. It's just a matter of like, the Chiefs' expectations are not, can we beat and tear apart the Cardinals, who are crap? Like, everybody expected them to regress. Can we beat the Chargers this week? Like, that's going to be the question, because the Chargers are good. The Chargers got talent. And if they're able to do that, now it's time where we can react and be like, yeah, the Chiefs are legit. Like, they're really freaking good, and we underestimated them. But like, let's see them play like a half-decent team. A half-decent defense. This defense has Gardeck and Rashard Lawrence against a really good offensive line. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, Clyde, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, who else? Jared McKinnon, Juju had a good game. Like, all these guys, they've got a lot of weapons. I think the question for the Chiefs is like, when you play a team who can match up with you and play like man coverage, can anyone win other than Kelce? And I think that's where they'll be tested. So I'm intrigued to see them play the Chargers, because even without JC Jackson, the Chargers' defensive backs are pretty darn good, as we'll talk about against the Raiders. And they're able to match up and they're able to cover. So that's where I want to see this new Chiefs offense. I want to see when a team can match up and a team has a hint of a pass rush and not a starting outside linebacker named Gardeck. Will they be able to like be this elite offense that they were with Tyreek Hill? So I have not answered those questions personally yet. We knew the Chiefs would be good. I picked them to go to the playoffs. I picked them to beat all these bad teams. We know that. Their defense was probably the takeaway of this game, because at least you played Kyler Murray. At least you played Marquise Brown. At least you played a half-decent offense, to the point where you could be like, yeah, George Karlaftis pops off the screen. Like, what they're doing with Chris Jones and their front is impressive. I think their defense is actually better than last year, perhaps. Justin Reed playing kicker. That was cool. But, like, I'm a little concerned about their corners. Just, Trent McDuffie goes down. But their defense, I thought, was the main takeaway for Kansas City. I'm not willing to go out here and suck the balls of Patrick Mahomes because he beat Dennis Gardeck. Okay? I'm just not willing to do it. All right? So, if you beat Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack and put up 5 tutties, then I'll be super impressed. And I'll be like everybody else. But if you're beating Zach Allen, I'm not going to be super pumped. Okay? But the defense looks good for the... I already talked about the Saints, Turtle. You missed it. You didn't miss my burned face, though. Next up. What else we got? All right, let's talk about the Bucs and the Cowboys. I already talked about the worst performance of week 1. The worst performance of week 1 was the Cowboys fans for being absolutely dead. I have never seen a fandom at a stadium, especially versus Tom Brady, sitting down on third down. Sitting down. They didn't even stand up. Okay? We talked about the worst performance of week 1. Easily the Cowboys fans. But, where do we go here? So the Bucs defense is really good. And I think most people knew that. But it's kind of funny how, like, the narrative has formed from this game that, like, it was all because the Cowboys suck and not because the Bucs defense is good. I don't know where this comes from. Like, I saw a lot of people picking the Cowboys. They won't admit it, but they picked the Cowboys to beat the Bucs. The Bucs were only favored by 2 points, and this was never really a game. Sadly, this was the most predictable game of the week. I made it my best bet of the week. There was a lot of people betting on the Cowboys, picking the Cowboys at home to beat Tom Brady for the first time. They thought, they would whoop their ass up front and all that stuff, and Dak would torch this defense. I saw, like, scores, like, I don't know what people are watching or, like, what sort of analysis they do in the offseason. I saw people, like, having scores of, like, 38-35. I'm like, what, where are you getting this from? How in the blue shit are the Cowboys going to score 38 points on the Bucs defense to win this game? Like, are you high? Like, what drugs are you on? I'd like to take some of those. Like, it was as clear as day. The Cowboys offensive line, you don't got Tyron Smith. Connor Williams gone. Collins gone. The offensive line's not very good. It was overrated last year with a lot of those pieces. And this year, it's worse. So you're not really able to protect Dak Prescott as well as you'd like. Zeke is like, he's okay. I thought he had actually a kind of a good game considering. But Tony Pollard didn't really get the ball enough, to be honest with you. But Tony Pollard's like an electric change of pace guy. He didn't get the ball a lot. CeeDee Lamb is a very good receiver, but you can double CeeDee Lamb. He's not going to run, he's not going to run past you and torch you for a 80-yard touchdown. He's going to work the intermediate area of the field. So what do the Bucs do? Well, they play a lot of, they clog the middle of the field. They double CD. They're forcing Dak to throw through 3 people, and it's tough. I've been saying this for years. Dak's a quarterback that's good. He's not great. He's as good as his supporting cast is. And when you look at the supporting cast, it's shit. It's not very good. Dalton Schultz is a above average tight end. Maybe. Like, physically, he's not very special. He's a good route runner. He's smart. But he's slow as molasses. Like, I don't know, man. I can't say that Dak played terrible because he doesn't have a lot, and he's playing a defense that's very freaking good. Like, the Bucs defense could be the best defense in the league. Their secondary looks as good as ever. I mean, Dean and Davis outside played strong games. Logan Ryan out there really kind of like shoring up everything. They've got Antoine Winfield in the nickel position a lot of the time now, with Logan Ryan back deep. Mike Edwards at strong safety, who's a better coverage guy than Whitehead is. Devin White had a phenomenal game, 2 sacks, should have had a pick on 4th down. Some reason he's ranked 38th by PFF. We know Hakeem Hicks and Vita Vea can push the pocket. Shaq Barrett's good. Like, this is legitimately arguably the best defense in football, or at least one of them. And they were playing a severely undermanned, outmatched offense. And again, Dak is not in that level of quarterback. He's not a Herbert, a Mahomes, a Brady, Allen, a Rodgers, where he could just have like one receiver and you're expecting him to still put up in the 20s, right? Like, it's not going to happen. So, especially when they can't run the ball. So, I'm not really going to get all over Dak. He's hurt. He's going to come back later in the year. But they need to, like, make a trade. If they want to, like, compete this year down the road, down the stretch, if he comes back soon enough, they need to get another receiver or something. Like, Gallup will help, I guess. But, and their defense is pretty solid. I thought the Cowboys defense, again, is pretty good this year. They just really struggle with power football. They struggle stopping the run. They struggle with big offensive lines like the Tampa Bay Bucks. You know, Micah Parsons is special. DeMarcus Lawrence is a good football player. Their linebackers are very good. I think their secondary is solid. It's not great. They don't have a shutdown corner, but they're all quality players. I thought Mike Evans had a good game. Julio looks back, man. He looked fast. He was going down the field. The guy could have had over 100 yards. The guy could have had a touchdown in the game. They ran this Brady boot to the outside, threw it back across the field, and it was really close to being completed. So I thought Julio looked great. He's going to have to step up big with Chris Godwin out. It sucks to see Chris Godwin go out. But really, this game should have been like 34-3, to be honest with you. Like, it should have been like 34-3. It ended up 19-3 because Parsons made a couple great individual efforts and sacks in the red zone against the backup left tackle. Donovan Smith got hurt. They need him against the Saints in order to win that game on the road, to protect Brady in that game. But I was really impressed by their ability to run the ball. The rookie left guard, Robert Hainsey, I thought had good games. They weren't an issue at all. I thought, again, Lenny was a monster, powered this offense. Brady looked solid, didn't make a ton of mistakes, made that one bad interception. But otherwise, his arm looked great. Pocket presence was good. Like, normal Tom Brady stuff. It wasn't a great game. He didn't have to be great. He sort of managed the game. That's the thing with Brady. When he gets up on you and when he knows it's a defensive game, you're not going to win. Like, it's over. It's over. Like, you just put it to bed. And that's where a lot of times, as a Pats fan, as a Brady fan for a number of years, and attending that game, I was like, this game's going to be boring. You're not going to see Brady, try to make any crazy throws. You're not going to see him force the ball. He knows his defense isn't giving up anything. It's going to be boring. So that's kind of the way the game was live. The Cowboys took some penalties, which were sloppy. Their fans only got excited when they took penalties. Kellen Moore definitely needs to be examined because it feels like this guy's only a good play caller when his talent is absolutely out of this world. So otherwise, I think Kellen Moore, maybe give some more leeway to Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones to be able to influence a little bit of the offense. But I felt like Cowboys, I'm not blaming a lot on Dak. He didn't play well, there's no doubt, but I don't know how you expected him to play well. I think the expectations, once again, for the Cowboys in this game were just out of whack. That's why I couldn't understand the 2.5-point spread. It made absolutely no fucking sense. So that's why I bet it, and that's why it was my best bet, because it made no sense, quite honestly. Next. Last thing before we get to Jefferson is Jerry Rice. A couple people keep asking me about my face. So my face is burnt because I watched the Patriots offense. That's the main event. We'll get to that later. But the last note is the Bucs played a different style of football. And this is something that I would like to see what they do moving forward. So they play the Saints next week. We know that they struggle against the Saints. We know that they usually lose to the Saints because their offense typically cannot just air the ball out, no risk it, no biscuit, do their thing on offense all the time against the Saints because they get pressure, because they do a good job in the back end of covering, confusing, doing some crazy things. And the Bucs really fully play into the hands of the Saints, right? When they play the Saints, they just do what the Saints would want an offense to do, which is allow their pass rush to eat you alive. And moving forward, I think the Bucs are going to play a little bit more Bowles bully ball. And you could kind of sense, and this is where I think Todd Bowles is an upgrade over Bruce Arians. He understands, game flow, he understands matchups, and he understands just to spam things that are working. And he understands, Bill Parcells' old school type football, where it's about toughness, it's about not turning the ball over, it's about not taking penalties, And it's about, if you can enforce physicality, enforce physicality. And the Bucs are arguably the most physical team in the NFL. You know, they're at least in that small group of teams where they can just bludgeon you on both sides of the football. So that is what I think you'll see going forward, that I think is an upgrade for Tampa to win some of these games that they may not have won in the past, is to be able to play that physical brand of football that they were incapable of really playing. They only really did it one time, and it was in the divisional round against the Saints out of necessity. Other than that, they've never really tried to get out of their comfort zone. Okay. Next, we've got Jefferson as Jerry Rice. Okay, so Justin Jefferson looks like Jerry Rice on the football field. And I don't know if this is an overreaction. The guy is wide open on like every play. I don't know if it's the Green Bay Packers or if it's Justin Jefferson. He's pretty good at football. I mean, I actually see a lot of similarities between Justin Jefferson and Jerry Rice. Like the smoothness at which they operate in their route running and the crisp preciseness of the routes, and the ability to play everywhere, do everything at a high level. I know that's very high praise, but Justin Jefferson is looking like Jerry Rice out there. You could argue that Justin Jefferson is the best player in the NFL, and I don't think that's crazy to say that. I don't think it's crazy. After week 1, you could argue Justin Jefferson is the best football player in the NFL, taking away value of the position. Okay? Next. The Vikings, I think they're officially what I hoped they would be. You know, I understand this is week 1. I understand to not overreact. I understand that the Green Bay Packers were missing their tackles. They were missing Allen Lazard. There was some things wrong with that operation, and they were getting used to some new receivers. Aaron Rodgers wasn't happy, blah, 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 blah. But in a very weak NFC, coming away from week 1, the only team that was somewhat impressive was Tampa Bay. Everyone else, the Niners lost. The Rams lost in a bad way. The Niners lost to the Bears. The Cowboys got hurt. The Eagles allowed 35 points to the Detroit Lions. Who else? The Saints almost lost to the Atlanta Falcons. Like, the Minnesota Vikings look like the second best team in the NFC after week 1. That might not stand the whole year, but the Vikings are who we hoped they would be. Their offensive line played a lot better in this game than I thought they would. They protected Kirk Cousins very well. I thought Kevin O'Connell offensively did a lot of great things, moving around Justin Jefferson, moving around some of his best weapons. The defensive line of the Vikings dominated when they should dominate. No Eldon Jenkins, no David Bakhtiari, and Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter dominated, period. Their secondary, a little suspect. That's certainly the weakness of this football team. Pat Pete got burnt like toast, like my face, on the first play of the game by Christian Watson, who dropped the ball. By the way, bro, Christian Watson, why did you catch the ball? I selfishly want 100,000 more views on my video. Watson, why didn't you catch the damn ball, bro? Come on, man. I make this video about you, and you drop the ball. First play of the game. Go down as a legend. First play of your career as a Packer. You burn one of the best corners of all time down the field. You're wide open, and it just clanks off your hands. You did everything right. I want 100,000 more views, man. Come on. Watson. But honestly, Watson, though, looked pretty impressive. His speed certainly pops. I think the Packers, this is what I'll say about this game from an overreaction, underreaction standpoint. I think the Packers will be fine. I think the Packers will be good. I think it will take time for them to be good. I think their offense, they need their tackles back. They need Allen Lazard. They need to find the rapport with receivers and find who's who. Sammy Watkins is trash. Guy should retire. Randall Cobb should retire. Their starting 3 receivers should be Allen Lazard, Christian Watson, and Romeo Doubs. Or Dubs. That should be their starting 3 receivers. Not Sammy Watkins, not Randall Cobb. It should be Christian Watson, Romeo Dubs, and Alan Lazard. Okay? And Robert Tonyan, and A.J. Dillon, and Aaron Jones. That should be their offense. And then when they get their tackles back, I think that was a huge problem for them. Because Rodgers didn't have trust in his receivers, and Rodgers didn't have time either. That was an issue for them. Okay? But I feel bad for Rodgers, honestly. I'm back to being a little bit of a Rodgers fan. Because I look at the sidelines of the Packers, and we've got LaFuck on the sidelines. Like, this guy is easily the most overrated coach in the NFL. Matt LaFleur does not know how to do anything other than call, like, offense. His special teams routinely suck ass. His defense, what is going on with the Packers? Did the Packers not understand that they have Jair Alexander? That they have Darnell Savage and Adrian Amos? Do they not understand? LaFuck, take your head out of your ass. You've got Jair Alexander. Why is Za'Darius Smith covering Justin Jefferson in the flat? Can somebody make sense of this? Why is Alexander not at least on Justin Jefferson? Why are we making this more complicated than it needs to be? This guy does not know how to manage a team. He does not know how to coach the full complementary football. All he cares about is getting carried by Aaron Rodgers. That's all he cares about. The guy is so overrated. It's not even funny. He's a decent play caller, but he is literally complete shit at every other area of coaching. Shit. How do you not have your defense prepared for Justin Jefferson? Why is Justin Jefferson running wide, butt-ass, naked, open on every play of this game? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's not hard. Panthers, get the ball to Christian McCaffrey. When you play the Vikings, do your best to cover Justin Jefferson. Okay? Next. We got to talk about Trey Lance. We have to. Okay. Bears, 49ers. How many segments we got left? How many segments? We still got a few. I'm going deep. I'm going deep this week, guys. I'm going deep. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, Gronk Spike, the like button. We got to talk about Trey Lance. All right, here we go. So, I did not watch the 49ers game live very much. I saw highlights. Of course, the 49ers were one of my best bets, -7. And, of course, they lost 19-10 in Chicago in a slip and slide of a game. The field was soaked, absolutely drenched. There was water popping off the field turf like crazy. Why did the Niners lose to the Bears? Or the better question should be, how did the Niners lose to the Bears? The Niners ran for, a lot of yards. I think the Bears had one completion. Justin Fields had one completion at halftime. They got numerous sacks. And I think it's pretty obvious that right now, at least, the 49ers' best quarterback is on the sidelines. And that's kind of what we feared, is that Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Trey Lance, at least to start the year. Maybe Trey Lance can get better. I'm not ruling that out. But if any Niners fan wants to tell you that Trey Lance wasn't at least part of the problem in this game, they've got some rose-colored glasses on. That's for sure. Okay? When we go through the game, the Niners should have been up 14-0 in the first 10 minutes of the game. Like, the game should have been over within the first 10 minutes of the game. Like, really. When you look at it, first drive, I think, they go down the field. Deebo Samuel fumbles at like the 10-yard line of the Bears. Bears get the ball. The Bears, meanwhile, for the whole first half, couldn't gain a yard. Like, they legitimately got their butt kicked up front. Justin Fields was really bad. He couldn't hit anybody. They couldn't really run the ball that well. The only times, the times they did move the ball, it was like a check down to the running back. Montgomery would break a tackle, or they'd get like a 6-yard carry on a run, whatever. Other than that, they couldn't run it. Fields threw a pick. The second drive, Trey Lance misses Tyler Kroft wide open for a touchdown. Wide open. That should be an easy touchdown. So the first two drives, should have been a touchdown. Deebo Samuel fumbles. Should have been a touchdown. Tyler Kroft wide open. Now keep in mind, a lot of Niners fans are going to say, yo, Mitch. It was a monsoon. Guys, I don't know what game you watched. It wasn't raining until the fourth quarter. The field was really wet, but it didn't affect the throwing. It didn't affect accuracy. Both quarterbacks were bad. Obviously, Justin Fields was in a worse spot than Trey Lance. The completions that Trey Lance had were all wide open. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, wide open. Deebo Samuel, wide open. Juwan Jennings down the field, wide open. All these plays are, silver platter Kyle Shanahan specials, wide the fuck open. Anytime that Trey Lance had a corner in the vicinity of one of his receivers, he missed. He made a bad throw. He stared down his receiver, got picked off. Stared down his receiver, threw the ball at his feet or off time or whatever. It was not good from Trey Lance. I mean, that was kind of expected, but not really. I mean, against a team like the Bears, you would expect a little bit better. And the Bears don't exactly have a fantastic defense. It's not great. But the problems with Trey Lance are just problems that we've seen continuously from college until now. And that's my problem with it, is my evaluation of Trey Lance from college until now has not changed at all. He has not gotten better. I understand he has not played very much, but he has practiced a lot. He has had time to improve his mechanics. He has had time to improve his accuracy. He has had time to understand this offense. He has had time to study the NFL. And I understand that you must see it in action. And that's why I'm not completely saying that Trey Lance is a bust or anything like that. He's still got time to prove himself. But this was not a good look. You're playing a team that you're 7-point favorite. You're playing a team that's expected to have a top 3 pick in the draft. You're expected to be a Super Bowl contender. And you play like ass. You play terrible. Were there plays where Trey Lance was able to move around and do his thing, run and get a first down? Cool. Yeah, that's great. But the guy's not even an electric runner. He's more of a fullback running the ball. And he showcased a little bit of an ability to move and do that. But he doesn't even run the way that Justin Fields runs. Right? He doesn't run the way Justin Fields runs. Just no rhythm to the offense when Trey Lance is in there. Even with Jimmy Garoppolo, you'll see a bit of a rhythm with the offense, right? With Trey Lance, it's man, you can't get in a rhythm because he misses so many easy throws. And that's my problem. He makes some good throws, but you just don't know when they're going to come because the mechanics are so sloppy and so inconsistent. And that really showcases itself when you're losing by 9, when it's raining, and when you're just not gripping the ball properly. You're throwing the ball into the dirt. You're not stepping into your throws. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be the guy from what I've seen. I'm not saying he's going to be awful, but I don't know, man. I think if this continues to go this way, they're going to have no choice but to play Jimmy. And I wouldn't want to say that because I also don't think Jimmy is that good. But Jimmy is at least better than what Trey gave you in this first game. Again, I'd give him more time. I'd give him more ideal environment next week. He's going against Seattle. Let's see how he does. Seattle's another defense that's not very good that you should be able to carve up with the skill talent you have on your team, with the play caller you have on your team. My problem is that Trey Lance, I did not see Trey Lance make more than 2 throws in a tight window in that game. I did not. I remember one throw in the middle of the field where he had a nice accurate ball to his receiver in tight coverage. Other than that, every single one of his completions were wide butt-ass naked open or a check down. Or he just ran because he didn't find a guy open. And sometimes I question whether or not a guy was open and he just decided to run because he didn't see the guy, which is another problem entirely. Now, on the flip side, Justin Fields was also pretty bad. I've heard people say he was good. No, he was not good. And he had a lot of the same issues. And I was praising Justin Fields for his preseason play. I thought he played well. He was not good in this game. He was not accurate. He made a couple plays in the game. He made a nice scramble drill play to Dante Pettis for a touchdown. And he made a nice throw for an easy touchdown to St. Brown, which was a busted coverage by the 49ers or a nice game plan play by the Bears, either way. But really, he did not make a lot of plays. So Justin Fields, if you were going to say the comparison between the two, he wasn't very good either. Obviously, he had to deal with a lot more pressure. I thought the Niners O-line, people saying they're going to blame, the interior O-line. I thought they were, I didn't think they were bad. I thought they were okay. I didn't think they were good, but I thought it was manageable. And the Niners, the way they were able to run the ball, Lance wasn't in a ton of bad situations either. Obviously, the Niners kind of beat themselves with some penalties, some turnovers, some sloppy football. There was some nitpicky penalties like Dre Greenlaw diving over Justin Fields and them calling a 15-yard penalty. That was kind of ridiculous. The Bears won the game because they didn't make any mistakes. But yeah, I thought neither quarterback played well. I thought both of them looked bad. Both of them looked inaccurate. Both of them looked young for sure. I thought the Niners safety, Hufanga, something like that, he looked really good. He had an interception in the game, and he made a number of plays on the ball. I thought he looked really good. I'm sorry for Elijah Mitchell, and the Niners running backs who continue to be unlucky. I loved some of the creative run game stuff from Kyle in this game. Some of the new stuff with Trey Lance, some of the different wrinkles to his run game that I thought was really creative and in a game like this necessary. And I just hate seeing it for Kyle because it's it's the same thing with Jimmy, but it's similar where it just feels like every play has to be wide open or every play has to be a game plan, like a great play call. And that's what bugs me. You need to be able to rely on a quarterback to make a basic throw in the NFL. It's a problem. So, also good for Dante Pettis for scoring that touchdown. But after watching the replay, I still don't really understand how the Niners lost. The Bears made 2 offensive plays the whole game, maybe 3. And the Niners, penalties, turnovers, missed passes, reasons they lost, but they still probably should have won the game. Next, we've got A.J. Brown is good. So the Philadelphia Eagles had an offensive explosion versus the Detroit Lions. Both teams had an offensive explosion. So for one team, it's kind of what I expected. I had the over in this game as one of my best bets. So if you bet that, congratulations. I I also had the Eagles -4, so that kind of pissed me off because the Lions backdoor covered as they always do. I was just disappointed in the Eagles defense. I didn't think they would give up 35 to the Lions offense. Again, I thought the Lions offense coming into the season a bit underrated, but 35 points, I don't think you should be giving up 35 points, even if some of it's in garbage time, the way that the Eagles did. DeAndre Swift looks phenomenal, looks fantastic. The guy just looks cool. He looks smooth when he runs. He's a pleasure to watch. DJ Chark was a nice addition. St. Brown obviously did his thing. TJ Hawkinson had a few nice catches. Jared Goff was very solid in the game. Nothing special, but solid. I think the difference partly was Jalen Hurts' ability to run and make some big throws, and Jared Goff not really being able to do that. That one interception, pick six, was pretty bad to James Bradbury. Bradbury had that pick six. I'm concerned about the Eagles defense, though. If you want to be an NFC contender, you can't give up 35 points to Jared Goff. You just can't. You just can't. So that's something that's concerning to me. And the Lions defense is what I thought they were. They're not very good. And we knew that. I mean, especially against a good offensive line that can protect. Their secondary is kind of lousy. Shout out to Jeff Okudah, who seemed to have a good game covering Devontae Smith, but everybody else had a tough time. A.J. Brown is pretty good at football, had 100 yards in the first half in his first game as a Philadelphia Eagle. Nice to see. They were able to run the ball for 200 yards in the game. Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders had a big game. Yeah, I'm concerned about the Eagles defense. Anyone that thinks Jonathan Gannon deserves a head coaching job is on absolutely crack cocaine. Anyone that thinks that Jonathan Gannon is even a good defensive coordinator is on some sort of drug, to be honest with you. The guy is awful. I don't understand how you can have all this talent on defense. James Bradbury, Avonte Maddox, Darius Slay, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Marcus Epps, who's good, Kazir White, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Jordan Davis, all these players, and you still give up 35 points. Like, how are you going to be a head coach? I don't get it. But the Lions, some promising things. I think the Lions are an average NFC team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think they're an off season away from being a playoff team. I think if they can find a quarterback in the draft and they can upgrade the secondary and the defense and the second level, I think that they can be pretty good next year. I don't think they're there yet, but they're not that far away either. So that's kind of how I feel about that game. Next, we've got the Raiders and the Chargers. So this was the game where we had two good teams going at it. And it was actually, it was a game where I expected it to be a good game between two good teams. And it was actually a good game between two good teams. When we look at the rest of the schedule this week and we look at the rest of the scores and stuff, like, you could just go through it, right? Buffalo, LA. We expected it to be two good teams and a good game. It was one good team, one bad performance. The Bucs and the Cowboys, a lot of people expected that to be close between two good teams. Not so much. The Cardinals and the Chiefs, not so much. What else? There was a number of games where it was like, we expected it to be a good game, a close game, but it didn't play out that way. I think we got a lot of good from both teams here. I thought this was actually a well-played game by the Chargers and the Raiders, and it showcased two teams that I think are good and two teams that I expect to make the playoffs in the AFC. Okay? The Chargers win. Close game, good game. I think the difference in the game was Derek Carr's 3 interceptions in comparison to Justin Herbert's. I think 0. I don't think he threw an interception. Derek Carr didn't play well. He wasn't himself. He took sacks. He held on to the ball too long. I think that was key to this game. I think the Chargers secondary did a great job. Playing a really talented weapon group. I think the Chargers did a great job. One of the Chargers fans is saying, eat crow. Not exactly. Not exactly. I expected to go either way. I like both teams. I picked them both go to the playoffs. In fact, I picked the Chargers to go further in the playoffs, so I'm not exactly sure how that's eating crow. And I also picked the Chargers to win the division. So again, I don't really understand it. But the Chargers, I thought their defense slightly outplayed the Raiders' defense. The Raiders' defense adjusted well, played really well in the second half, made some plays. But the Chargers' combination on defense between Bryce Callahan playing an amazing game, Asante Samuel having a pick, their secondary playing a good, sound football game, and Khalil Mack just getting after it on the edge and making life difficult for Derek Carr. That was a great combination for them. Devontae Adams proven to be uncoverable in that game. J.C. Jackson would have helped, obviously. Devontae Adams was just different in that game. He was just open every play. Now, I do think that was sort of a problem for the Raiders, though, and I want to see them fix that moving forward. Derek Carr is going to have to not zone in on Devontae Adams as much as he did in this game. That, I think, can become a problem in this offense. I think with McDaniel's offense, you can't really zone in on one guy so much. You have to kind of take what's there, and I think he zoned in on Adams a little bit too much. But I'm not overly concerned about Derek Carr or the Raiders' offense. I just feel like the offensive line obviously had a tough matchup, but a lot of the pressure and a lot of the sacks were due to the coverage or due to Carr not getting rid of the ball, Carr not having a great, comfortable feel for the offensive scheme just yet, which he didn't play a preseason game, right? So that's something where we weren't really able to tangibly see Derek Carr in that offense. And I think they're going to get better offensively as the season wears on. Darren Waller got better in the game as the game wore on, and he had a huge, play in the game. He had a couple big plays, but Derek Carr missed him for a touchdown. I thought this game was really close. Darren Waller missed a touch. They could have had a touchdown. Derek Carr missed him. I think Josh Jacobs needs more work. That's one of my criticisms for Josh McDaniels in this game. I think Josh Jacobs needs to get more carries. I think he also needs to be more relevant on third down. I understand you love Brandon Bolden. He had a touchdown in this game, but I think Josh Jacobs needs to be utilized more. I thought Nate Hobbs played fantastic, like legit shut down versus Mike Williams. Justin Herbert was sensational in the game. He had like 4 or 5 throws where it was just ludicrous. Like he's moving out of the pocket. He throws the ball. He like sticks it to his receiver. Like right in. There was one to Gerald Everett where he just threw it right into his chest. Like it just stuck to him. Like Everett didn't even have to catch it. It just like stuck to him and he just went like this. It was like ball hit him and he was like, that was what it was like. But yeah, Herbert was phenomenal in this game. He continues to show why he's an MVP candidate. Thought he truly outclassed Derek Carr in this game, which was probably the difference in the outing. Khalil Mack was great again. And yeah, I think both teams are going to be good. And I'm looking forward to the second game these two teams play each other. Because at the end of the day, for as bad as the Raiders played in terms of turnovers conceded, 3 picks, all that stuff, the Raiders were only down 5 points with 3:38 left in the game. They had the ball for a chance to go up in the game. So I think there's positives to be taken away from the Raiders. There's obviously positives to be taken away from the Chargers as a team where, Keenan Allen gets hurt. J.C. Jackson didn't play. There's still key elements of your team that didn't play, and you still beat a good team at home. So I liked it from both sides. I can't really complain either way. I think both teams are good. All right. Next, the main event of the evening. And then we'll get to our weekly awards, which is going to be a new thing for this season. Now, hold on. I got to talk about this first. Before we get to the Patriots and why my face is burnt, okay? Why I look like Two-Face right now. I look like Two-Face. Let's talk about Tuanon, okay? So the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots played on Sunday. I'm not sure if you heard, but the Dolphins and the Patriots played. I can't believe, I am beside myself that the New England Patriots are 0-4 versus Tua. This has to be the worst quarterback that has ever beaten Bill Belichick multiple times. I mean, the Miami Dolphins won in spite of Tua. I know a lot of you are going to disagree because you didn't actually watch the game. A lot of you are going to disagree because he actually, raw statistics wise, Tua's stats look good. And what I will say about Tua is he didn't turn the ball over, even though he should have. Okay? There was 3 plays in the game where he probably should have been picked or he should have fumbled. So one play, he got strip sacked by Matt Judon, I think, or Dietrich Wise, and his offensive lineman jumped on the ball. So that's first and foremost. Second, there was a throw right to Jack Jones where Tyreek Hill literally took the ball out of the corner's hands and stripped him of the football and caught it. That's play number 2 that he should have turned the ball over. So Tua turned the ball over exists. Play number 3, throws it right into the defense, and the Patriots literally run into each other. His biggest throw of the game, which is a nice throw over the middle on a slant to Jalen Waddle on 4th down for a big touchdown. The Patriots literally ran into each other again for Jalen Waddle to run away from the defense, which on a defensive call that made no sense, by the way. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. But from a Tua perspective, the Dolphins won in spite of Tua. Everything from this team. Mike McDaniel did a good job in his first game. I thought he called a pretty good game. A lot of play action stuff, a lot of, what we expected, right? RPOs, motion, screens, quick throws to Tyreek Hill. Like, Tua is fine underneath 5 yards, throw it 7 yards, throw it. Like, most of his completions in this game, he just spammed Tyreek Hill on screens, spammed Tyreek Hill on bubble screens, spammed Tyreek Hill on short little option routes. That's really all that Tua did all game. Every time he threw the ball past 8 yards, like, I'm being, generous here. Every time the guy threw the ball over 8 yards, it was like a, cover your eyes. Like, the guy, there were some throws where he couldn't put enough mustard on the ball past 12 yards. Like, he threw an in route to a receiver who was open, and it hit the ground, and it was like a 12-yard pass. And I'm like, how is this guy starting? He's not, I think he's like a backup quarterback, to be honest with you. Like, I hate being so critical of this guy because I always have been critical of this guy. I don't see it. I think the Dolphins are a legitimately talented, good football team. Their offensive line looked a lot better in this game. They did have some issues with the Patriots pass rush. The Patriots pass rush is pretty good, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that, Dolphins fans. There were some problems, but some negated by the play action stuff, some negated by the amount of screens ran in the game. They struggled to run the ball, did the Dolphins in this game. The Patriots did a very good job of stopping that and forcing Tua to beat them. But really, the Patriots conceded a lot of, underneath stuff. But then again, New England's defense only allowed 14 points. Because the Dolphins' defense scored a touchdown in the game. So, the game was really, the game wasn't really 20-7 or whatever it was. It was really, it was actually a lot closer than the score, in my opinion. Because we had the first drive by New England that went all the way down the field to the 10-yard line. Looked good. Looked good. And then Mac throws a fade ball to Devontae Parker, which there was probably pass interference on that play by Xavier Howard, who tugs Devontae Parker. But I think Mac needs to understand matchups entering the game, and the offense needs to do a better job of identifying their matchups. That's something that McDaniels did very well. Matt Patricia, I don't know if this was a Matt Patricia call to get Devontae Parker in there one-on-one, or if this was a Mac Jones decision. But I don't love Devontae Parker taking on Xavier Howard. I just don't love that.
Howard has great ball skills. He's able to make plays. He hits the ball up in the air, and Javon Holland picks it. Javon Holland, the Canadian, picks it off in the end zone, and it's a touchback. If New England starts the game with a touchdown there, the game is completely different. So that's the first drive of the game. So right there, you've got that. Tyreek Hill, though, ridiculous. Tyreek Hill was ridiculous in the game. Tyreek Hill proved why he is special. Like, he went from the Chiefs, he goes to the Dolphins, he was the best player on the field. Jonathan Jones did a fairly good job of containing him. I think he only had like 80-something yards, but they literally spammed this guy. Like, they gave him the ball on reverses, they gave the ball on bubble screens, they gave the ball in the backfield, they gave him the ball, down over the middle, option routes, all this stuff. Like, they treat him as a target machine, like almost like a Wes Welker guy, but he's Tyreek Hill with like 4.2 speed. And I thought he was phenomenal. Jalen Waddle was very quiet in this game, and basically every other weapon other than Tyreek Hill was very quiet. So I felt like New England did a very good job of containing the Dolphins offense, but a lot of that also had to do with the fact that Tuanon here he's so limited from a throwing perspective that you only have to defend 10 yards of the field. And if you don't gain yards after catch, you're really limited. So the way that I see the Dolphins is I see them as a good team. I see them as a team that can pursue the playoffs. But I just think that against good teams, you're going to get exposed because your quarterback isn't good enough. I think they're going to need to get a quarterback down the road next year. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So now going back to the Patriots, if I can figure this out. Where are the Patriots? There it is. So going back to the Patriots and explaining the state of the Patriots, okay? So why did they lose this game the way that they lost this game? It looked very ugly. The entire media is calling out Matt Patricia. They're saying Belichick's washed. They're saying Mac is a bust. They're saying this team has no talent, blah, 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 bop, bitty boop, bop. But let's talk about the game, okay? So the Patriots in the game, Miami, 0 turnovers. They should have had turnovers. They didn't. They got lucky. New England had 3 turnovers. They got strip sack for a touchdown, which was not Mac Jones' fault. It was Trent Brown's fault. If you watch the play, Trent Brown was supposed to slide to the blitzer. Nobody picks the blitzer up. It's the blind side of Mac Jones. Mac Jones looking to the right to get rid of the ball, understanding there's a blitz. Trent Brown does not block his guy. The guy comes free, knocks the ball out of Mac Jones' hand. It's Melvin Ingram, a pro. He knows how to do this. The ball is free. They score a touchdown. Huge play in the game. Backbreaker for a Patriots offense that already doesn't have a lot of confidence, right? So that's strip sack for a touchdown. They fumble the ball. Nelson Aguilar fumbles the ball on a drive where they're moving it. They're in Miami territory. Nelson Aguilar gets popped, fumbles the ball. That basically ended the game, any chance of a comeback. And they have the red zone interception, which was a missed PI. Every time the Patriots move the ball, and they moved the ball in this game, they weren't able to find that play or that sustain it. They made a mistake every time. So people are going to blame play calling, personnel, creativity. All those things can be blamed. But to be honest with you, I thought the Patriots offense actually wasn't as bad as the 7 points indicated because they always shot themselves in the foot every single fucking time. The blitz pickup in this game was a problem. I felt like if they played Brian Flores in this game, if Brian Flores was the coach of the Dolphins, they would have got absolutely fucked by the Dolphins defense because they couldn't pick up the blitz. Mac Jones, I believe I saw a PFF chart that showed that Mac Jones had the most pressure of any quarterback in this game. And he was getting the ball out quick. He was getting it out quick. There's a lot of short passes. Mac Jones was very efficient. Even Bill Belichick said after the game, there were not a lot of incomplete passes. The ball didn't hit the ground very often. And he's right. There was a very efficient short passing game out there that was working, that was effective. But there was not a lot down the field. There was a big Kendrick Bourne play, which, what do you know? Kendrick Bourne didn't fucking play the whole game. And then he goes out there one play and makes the biggest play of the game because he's the best receiver on the team. And he played one snap. How in the world are you going to play your best weapon for one play? You've got Do you guys care about winning? You got Kendrick Bourne sitting his ass on the bench, sipping Gatorade. Why aren't you playing him? He goes out there for one play, gets a 30-yard pass. What are you doing? So, the Patriots offense, no play action. What, like 2 play action plays, both were effective. No motion. No RPOs. Nothing. You don't utilize your play action game, core fundamental philosophy of the Patriots for the past 20 years. You don't utilize any screen game, core fundamental philosophy. You don't use motion. You're static. You use 2 personnel sets, 12 personnel and 11 personnel, the whole game. That's it. The least amount of personnel sets of any team in the NFL this week, Matt Patricia's Patriots. You used Ty Montgomery over Ramondre Stevenson. Can the Patriots fucking understand that they have good football players that they don't play? They've got Kendrick Bourne. They've got Ramondre Stevenson. They don't fucking play. Instead, we've got Devontae Parker, who can't run. We've got Jacoby Myers, who I like. He's good. He doesn't scare a soul. He runs an 8.6 40. Every catch of his is miraculous. I don't get it. Nelson Aguilar is just not good. He's just not it. He's not it. Like, who are the Patriots throwing to when they need a bucket? Like, a big play. The biggest play of the game. Who is Mac Jones expected to throw the ball to? Who is he expected to throw the ball to? It sure as hell doesn't look like it's going to be Devontae Parker. We know it's not Nelson Aguilar. He'll probably drop it. Jonnu Smith doesn't get open. The only place Jonnu Smith gets the ball is a handoff or a screen. I legitimately have never seen Jonnu Smith catch the ball past 5 yards. Hunter Henry I didn't see him. Did he play? Who are we supposed to go to in a big moment? Who is Mac Jones? He carries this offense, and it's really sad because he shouldn't have to. He's a second-year quarterback. Your offense should not be carried by Mac Jones through his accuracy and precision. We should have players getting open sometimes. Can we have a receiver that can get open? And now Mac's hurt because we can't protect him. You know, what's weird about that game is it felt like New England was going to make it interesting and competitive because, like I said, they were moving the ball throughout the game thanks to Mac Jones, which every casual will tell you the guy is not good. He's a bust. He's whatever. Bro, it's not his fault. This offense does not have any good players. Nobody on this offense is above average. I don't think anybody is above average. How do we have a second-year quarterback with no creativity on offense? And to second that, we got no creativity and no real weapons. No real weapons. The Dolphins legitimately have 3 weapons better than our best weapon. Legitimately. And one of them doesn't really even play for the Dolphins. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating to watch because every time it feels like the Patriots, Mac kind of gets into a rhythm. They're in a big play. It's like 3rd and 8. The defense just clamps them because they can't get open. And he's having to throw a prayer into like Hunter Henry in double coverage because there's nowhere to go with the ball. Every fucking time. It's the same thing that happened last year. Every time. Now, like, here's the thing, right? It's good and it's bad because everything that I thought was bad is still there. But everything, at the same time, it's not the sky is falling bad. It's not like, because I think this team will get better as the season goes on. Because I just believe that Belichick will coach this team up. I think the defense looked solid. They made a couple mistakes. The Waddle play was a mistake. They made a couple mistakes. But the offense, like, can only get better. Like, when you look at what happened in the game, I thought they would get back in the game because a lot of what happened to them were mistakes. And it's frustrating because you have Bill Belichick. Like, I'm starting to question, is he washed? How do you go offside on a 4th and 1? How do you go offside on a 4th and 1? Give up a free first down. Because the Patriots did not have a 3 and out in the entire game, guys. As bad as their offense appeared to be, they did not go 3 and out on a single drive in the game. Not one. Not one. They had a turnover on downs. They had an interception in the red zone. They fumbled the ball for a touchdown. They had 2 drives where they had 8 plays and then they punted at the 50-yard line or around the 50, 45-yard line area where you move the ball and then you stall. And that's my problem is New England can kickstart a drive. New England can get into an area where they're looking like they're threatening to score, get in the red zone, and then one negative play will happen, and then they need a 3rd down. They need a 3rd and 7, and they can't get it done because they don't have anybody that can get them a bucket. They don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't have Cooper Kupp. They don't have Justin Jefferson. They don't have Devontae Adams. They don't have Julian Edelman. They don't have Rob Gronkowski. They don't have Wes Welker. They don't have anybody where, like, 3rd and 7, we're at the 45-yard line of the Dolphins. This is going to be the difference between us punting the ball on an 8-play drive or us getting into the red zone, okay? And we can't get the ball into the red zone because when we get to a problem, we can't just throw the ball to a guy. There's nobody on our offense that we got to double team. There's nobody on the offense that demands respect. It's just everybody is mediocre. So I just think the Patriots are average. And I think a lot of people after this week are saying they are trash or they are, washed, whatever. They're not bad. Okay, they're not a bad team. They struggle in Miami. They always lose to the Dolphins in Miami. It was expected. I picked the Dolphins. Was I a little bit disappointed? Obviously, but I wasn't surprised. It's just that it feels like every time we play this team now, or every time that they lose, there are common themes. We have a bad play, and then we run the ball on 2nd and 15. Why are we running the ball on 2nd and 15 for 3 yards? Common stupid mistakes, penalties, turnovers. Just stuff that you would not see in the Belichick Brady era that drive me nuts. Because if Belichick is supposed to be this all-time great coach, why are these things still happening to this team 3 years after Tom Brady left? Again, I think this team will get better. I expect them to be fully in the game against the Steelers, if not win the game against the Steelers. But I just don't, if you're expecting this team to be good, I never expected that. But I think in week 1, we saw this team is not going to be good. Are they going to be bad? Probably not, but they're not going to be good either. Just because they just don't have it on, they just don't have the guy. And the scheme is no longer there on offense either. The defense, I think, will be fine, but I don't know. It's just, it's annoying. It's just annoying. We knew we didn't have a number 1 receiver, and we still don't have a number 1 receiver. So unless Tyquan Thornton is this amazing thing, I don't think we have a number 1 receiver. We're gonna have to get one in the offseason, and if we don't, we're gonna have the same issue. Because Mac Jones is a guy that is a solid quarterback right now that has a chance to be a very good quarterback. But the way that he can be a very good quarterback is a lot like how Joe Burrow can be a very good quarterback. Through vision, through precision, through accuracy, and through spreading the ball to good, talented players. Mac Jones does not have Jamar Chase. He does not have T. Higgins, and he doesn't even have Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd would be the best receiver on this team. So, Mac is the type of quarterback that needs weapons to distribute to. He's not a quarterback that can make a lot out of just average or a little. He's just going to be average with average. That's just the way it is. It's like Dak. Okay? We need somebody to get a bucket. We don't got no Kobe on our team. Okay? Now let's end this hilariously long review with our 3 awards. And we may come up with more awards as the season wears on, and you guys can always give your ideas. I appreciate you staying up with me. We've had a consistent about 80, 90 viewers live. I appreciate that. Huge. Here are my 3 awards. Beginning with the Bully Maguire Award, which is for the player that absolutely bullied their opposition. This award will go to Von Miller of the Buffalo Bills, who had multiple sacks and had multiple pressures, I believe 9, against his former team, the Los Angeles Rams, and had a statement victory on opening night. Award number 2 was coined by Ultra, the Jamel Dean Award for the best defensive player, because that is a meme in the Discord. I'm going to go with Minkah Fitzpatrick here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The reason they win that game is because of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Minkah not only contributed with a big interception and a number of plays on defense, but also a key special teams block. And the final award was coined by Lenny B, the Jim Thorpe Award for the best player in the NFL this week. And I'm giving it to Saquon Barkley. He is back. He put the team on his back like Greg Jennings with a broken freaking leg and carried the Giants to a victory with 200 total yards and the 2-point conversion to win the game. There it is, guys. Your first weekly review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to Gronk spike the like button, subscribe for more. We will see you tomorrow for picks, perhaps power rankings as well, best bets, and more. Thank you guys for watching. It's Mitch. Peace.